Hey, my friend, YouTube is on easy mode, and it doesn't even matter anymore if you're the youngest one on the platform. Even if you're over 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, it doesn't seem to matter anymore what age people are when they're starting their channels or continuing on with a channel that's been small, let's just say. It seems right now that YouTube is really pushing small content creators, and it really doesn't matter your age anymore or how pretty you even are. People are wanting and resonating with real content, real messages delivered by real people who are sharing from their life experiences. So, this really is anyone's time. It's your time. If you have been thinking for a while about starting a channel or taking the one that you've already started a little bit more seriously, or maybe you have let a channel fall by the wayside and you've kind of regretted that, wish you would have not done that, but you haven't really picked it up or you haven't started that new one yet, this is the time to stop delaying. There are common things that sometimes make anyone, and I've had this experience too, everyone has. I thought it was just me when I was struggling, especially at first, with really being someone who could make content for a channel, which I did start doing some years ago. But I know what it's like to have those struggles and to think that they're just me. And if you have struggled with that, as you may have, especially if you've not really started a channel yet, or if you haven't really given it a go, you might have faced struggling. What do I talk about? I feel awkward on the camera. I show up and I have these ideas in my head, and then when I go to record, my mind goes blank. I've dealt with this, and like I said, I thought I was really in the minority because when I've seen a polished YouTuber, someone who's been doing it for a while, just like you have probably had this experience, they really come across as they were just always naturally this at ease with it, naturally easy flowing and able to talk to the camera and to keep their thoughts straight. This is not usually the case for them either, or it wasn't. They have gotten good over time. They've gotten more proficient over the time. And I have even heard some people who have YouTube channels who've had them for a while and who have been coming across really well spoken, really well thought out, deliver their content in a really seemingly easy type of efficient manner. I've thought that they worked out all those jitters at least by then, and that it was always easy for them once they reached a certain point. And some of them I later heard saying that they still struggle with this from time to time. It's just better than it had been in the beginning, easier. So I want to run a few things by you because if you are like me, if you've seen what I've seen on YouTube over the past several years, it has looked, at least with the content I was lining up with, it has looked like most people doing really well are very young. And if they're a female, especially very pretty. Seems to me like what I've seen, the gentlemen can get away with more leeway on attractiveness level, um, and not even have to put makeup on or anything like that. Not that all women do. I mean, there are some women YouTube creators who actually don't, and I find it refreshing. And apparently, a lot of other people are now finding all of this refreshing too. So at one time, it seemed like the really pretty people, the young people, especially the female really pretty people, were doing very well. And then the males, they've had more leeway, like I said. So they too have been doing very well, and their age ranges seem to be able to be a little bit more expansive than what I felt like I was witnessing within the female side of the population. Let me know in the comments below if this is what you have typically seen over time, and if this has played a part in how you have felt about moving forward on YouTube, especially if you're someone over the age of 40 or even in your late 30s. If you have felt, like maybe you just weren't born in the right time to really make a go of YouTube. So what I'm seeing now, though, is completely different. And it's not just that some people who are older or some people who are more average in how they look, or even on the unattractive side, are getting a real shot at having decent sized channels on YouTube. It's not really that people are in the minority anymore. I'm seeing this more and more and more across the board. I'm seeing a lot more people in their middle ages and even in some of their elder years. And I'm seeing a significant number of these people, as well as younger people also, who maybe weren't the prettiest ones, who maybe didn't have all the fancy, beautiful makeup or the fancy this or that or anything. And another thing that's also changing, besides the fact that more average looking people in a lot broader of age ranges, in fact, there just seems to be no age limit anymore. I'm seeing people in their 70s and 80s starting YouTube channels, and their channels are taking off. But this also gets into what I've been saying somewhat recently on my channel. YouTube is on easy mode, and YouTube is pushing small channels. And so it's really anyone's game, regardless of what your age is here when you're watching this right now. But if you happen to be over the age of 40, and if you've been concerned that it just really might not work well for you to even bother to take the time to create a YouTube channel and to be so consistent on creating content regularly, I have really great news for you. And that is, it's easier than ever. Everyone has a fair shot now. And I'm going to keep talking about different details that I've been learning along the way in this, because I have found some incredibly encouraging and exciting things, and I'm seeing it consistently. And I really want to share it with you. In fact, I really didn't set forth to change my channel to a theme on let's keep talking about YouTube. And I do plan to talk about other things, because I have spent years and years on self-development and manifestation techniques. But even that, the self-development and manifestation techniques, I've seen them firsthand in my own experiences with my content posting, when I have posted videos, how I have been inside myself, and then how well those videos do. So wouldn't you like to know some of that within building a channel? I've seen the mindset manifestation things work when I've put things up on eBay to sell. Depending on what space I've been in, kind of made a big difference in how well my things sold or how many people bid on them. Wouldn't you like to know of some of this? I really would like to talk about all of this, and I plan to. Right now, I'm just encouraging people, if you've been having this urge to start YouTube or to continue on with a channel that you've already started, but just have not really been taking too seriously, to actually honor yourself. And to those people who would actually benefit from your message, to make a go for it. And sure, you may need to learn some things along the way. And I'm still learning things along the way too, in all of my endeavors. That's just natural. That's just life. But you see, we've been given this false perception. And I know that I grew up with this, and everyone that I've known and what I see out there, people seem to have this false perception that runs rampant within the cultural perceptions, the cultural programming. And that is, we need to have it all figured out before we can even start. But that's just not how businesses even work. You need to have a general idea. You need to have some clearly defined action plans to start with, so that you could actually start and continue on for at least a short little while. But you don't really need to know everything that there is to know in order to start in the beginning. You just need to know enough. And then you need to actually start taking action. Because what happens is, and I've been building a business, an independent record label with my partner for over 20 years. And I can tell you that, I'll tell you more of the story along the way, but when we started, first we were thinking we were going to get a deal from a major label. So we were kind of waiting for that. And then we were just making recordings. We were just going along, still kind of thinking we would get picked up and get a deal. And when that didn't come, we just decided we were going to do it ourselves. Do you think that we knew how? Do you think that we knew everything that went into it? No, but we just started with what we did know how to do, and we knew enough to start recording. We knew enough to get help from people we needed to learn things from, or to do other things we did not know how to do. We knew enough to get going with what we did know how to do. And as the path unfolded, which it will do when you take the action that you start taking, the path unfolds. Different things are drawn into your experience because you've had a focal point and you've taken action in line with that focal point with what you knew to do. Then different people come in, they start offering things that help you. They may offer to take on some of the workload. They may offer to teach you things. They may offer experiences. They may offer opportunities. All of these things happened for us. But if we had never started with what we knew to do, we would have nothing. And we've gained a lot over the years, but only because we started with what we knew to do. We didn't stop ourselves. I mean, yeah, sure, I worried a little bit. Oh, what about that? What about that? I don't know what we're going to do down the line. My partner, thankfully, he was much more in the flow from the beginning and always was, don't worry about it. Let's just start with what we know to do. And I had some of my own experiences already within that too, which I can share here at a later time. Because again, I feel like this does really relate to starting a YouTube channel, continuing on with one, starting any business venture. And I think we all should start some type of business venture. And YouTube is a business venture if you take it seriously and look at it as one and behave within it as if it is one, which means holding yourself accountable, holding yourself to showing up and making content on a somewhat regular basis, at least, even when it's not convenient, or even when you don't feel good. I don't feel good today, but I'm already late because of some other things that happened in my week. I'm late with this next video going up compared to the last one. So the choice is, do I give in to the headache? And I chose to not give in to the headache today. It's not comfortable, but I'm doing it. And within a business, to a point, you have to show up, even when you don't always want to or feel like it. But the rewards are worth it down the line. To me, it's rewarding even right now because I've pushed myself. I haven't been feeling that great within myself that I haven't been able to make a new video, and a little bit more than 1 week has gone by. That was not my intention. Some things were legitimately going on, and it made it pretty much impossible over the last several days. So my choice was, I'll let another day slip by because today I happen to have a pretty bad headache, or push myself and see if I can do it anyway. At least give it a try so that I'd have the satisfaction of knowing, hey, at least I showed up and I really gave it my all. And then if in the end I felt like it wasn't a good video, I'd at least know I really showed up for it. But I think it's going okay. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment below. Do you think this is going pretty well? Let me know if you're learning anything here. So also, if you are a bit older, over the age of 40, and if you have felt like I have felt like people only want to show up in here 20-something-year-olds, maybe into their 30s at the most, here's some food for thought. I think maybe some subjects, that could be true and it could be relevant. I really do not know. But take, for example, most of the things I want to learn, especially on life things, challenges people have gone through and overcome. Who best to actually talk about what they've gone through and what they've overcome than someone who's a little bit more life experienced? All right. Chances are not terribly high that someone in their 20s would be able to talk about things at a level that I would really resonate with hearing someone talk about certain type of things anyway, to where I would really feel in resonance with getting that information from them. But sure, there are certain things where I don't really care what age anybody is, as long as the information is great. There's certain things, tech things, for example, I don't really mind what age anybody is. I feel like as long as they know what they're talking about, and most of them seem to, it's great. But like I said, certain things, certain wisdoms come with years of life experience. And this is what people who are getting a little bit older have that they can offer. And what I'm also noticing is I personally have many friends who are quite a bit younger, even in their 30s, early 30s, who enjoy learning certain types of material from people who are actually quite a bit older than they are. In fact, some of these people like to listen to people teaching on mindset themes and manifestation themes who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and even their 80s, who have a very good track record with teaching on these subjects. So really, it's everyone's game right now, and YouTube really is pushing out small content creators, pushing out new channels. And so I'm really appealing to that part in you, that has wanted to do a YouTube channel or put yourself out there in some kind of way, to consider that this impulse that you've had is perhaps coming from what I like to think of as that infinite self part of you, that soul part of you, or God, or the universe, whatever way that you would think about that. I believe that at least for most people that have this impulse to do something and to share, you've probably at least considered some of the themes that you could share on within a YouTube channel. Perhaps you're confusing yourself with all the different ideas that you have on that, because you could probably teach on a few different things at least within your life experiences that you've gained. And I understand this. I have had similar, going around in my head too, banging around on the walls. What should I teach? What should I teach? Well, what are you passionate about? What do you already give advice on, or what do you have very in-depth thoughts about, at least on a regular basis? What do you study the most, or what have you studied the most that you would be proficient at teaching people or sharing with people who are perhaps a few steps behind or more steps behind where you currently are at now? And especially if you continue to dive deeper into a subject such as this, then it continues to be something that you're very intrigued with, that you're very passionate about, that you continue to find your own value within. And presumably, you'll also learn more and more and more things past where you've already learned. And you will be continually having a wealth of information that you can easily convey. All right. So I want to leave that with you for food for thought. And I'd also like to just share that I've spent a lot of time, too many years, wanting to do a certain in-depth type of YouTube channel. And I've started a few YouTube channels. One was on the theme I really, really have wanted to target, but I did not stick with it. And it was not on this channel. It was on a different channel. And through all of the confusions of the what ifs over the years, and what do I really want to do, that I've continued to run over the years, and some people do that. So if you're one of them, I'd like to invite you to consider, what's the thing that if you were to really tune into it, it's really propelled you the most? What's the thing that you've really yearned to share the most? Because I promise you, it really is there. Just like I eventually saw, it was the one thing that just kept really standing out to me the most. And the other stuff was just the mental gymnastics, that little part, that little questiony, pesty part of our brain that likes to do the little questiony, sabotagey thing. I've learned over years that most of the time, I really can't trust that part. That part will foil me most of the time rather than help. It's that intuitive part that comes from within that really offers the best guidance, the guidance that will bring the best outcome and fulfillment. And we all have that within us, if we will just be a little bit quiet enough from the rambly mind to allow ourselves to just tune in. I promise you, it's been percolating within you. And if you aren't sure that it has, then go ahead and just list out some things that you know enough about that you'd be able to teach someone 2 or 3 steps or more behind where you are. Like, where were you within that thing a year ago, or 2 years ago, 5 years ago? Think about the you and where you were within that thing at those various points in time. And now, what if you had a you who knows what you know now, who could actually advise and give solid information on whatever to the version of you from a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. You get my point, right? So go ahead and start by making a list if you're really not sure what to start with on a YouTube channel. In an upcoming video very soon, I promise I'm going to be sharing with you a new video style that is not only easy and takes so much less time to create than videos that we've been having to deal with in the past, and editing styles that we've been having to deal with in the past to make our content wantable by viewers. It's a completely different game now, especially within this one particular style, and it's taking over YouTube. It's blowing up like wildfire, and I promise you, it makes video making take a fraction of the time. So YouTube being on easy mode and pushing out new content creators, combined with a few different strategies I will be talking about. There are a few strategies to make it work. They're easy, but if you don't know them and you don't do them, I don't know, you might be in the same boat with your content not really getting out there. Okay, so stay tuned for that, because you need to hear that. And combined with this newer way of making videos and the easier editing style, it really makes for an award-winning combination. In my opinion, from what I've seen on YouTube, there's never been a time like this where, with all the factors combined, it has been potentially this easy. So if you want to do it, if you've been wanting to do it, at least start taking some notes to give yourself a framework on what type of a theme you would actually make your channel on. At least do that for yourself, and I'll see you in the next video where I will deliver some more tips and tricks to get you on your way.